Hello rail fans. We had started out the day stopping in Cordele. We had planned on going to Manchester, Georgia, and this is the first one we saw come by. 898. We knew he would be going through Manchester, our destination, so we decided we would follow him and try to see if we couldn't catch him along the way, but he got put on a side and somewhere, and we was out of scanner range, couldn't hear the conversation. So we will see him later in this video when we're in Manchester. If you're out in Central Georgia looking for trains, Cordele is always a good spot. You're guaranteed to see trains, and their rail fan platform has really nice bathrooms. They're really kept clean by the city of Cordele, and we sure do appreciate them every time we pass through here. Well, this is what we found in Manchester. The rail fan platform there already had a train in front of it. We decided to make a home here for the next few hours, and really a nice platform. It gives you the train track that we're looking at here is actually a workaround track. There's two other tracks and then a main on the far side of the picture when you see it in a while. This was a long train. It had over 660 axles. It came by for a long time. The platform also has a scanner, which can be cut on and off. Later we had, there was two other gentlemen there when we arrived. They were brothers. This guy there is named Don, that guy's Pete. And one's from Covington, the other's from LaGrange. So as we were checking out this rail fan platform, we had a chance to talk to them. Very nice guys. They love trains as good as anybody out there. And so out there and about, you see rail fans. Most of them are friendly people. Just strike up a conversation. It was a very long train, and what you see across there is 3165, and they were having airline issues. They couldn't get air on the to show up on the DPU in the back, so they were trying to troubleshoot that, and it turns out they had a pinched air hose. And what was neat is we could hear the scanner and hear the discussion. Well, there's my wife and old Hank. Hank got a chance to spend the day. He was with us all day long. He's a good traveler, and he loved everybody he met. He's a sport model now. He likes trains as good as I do. If I put my shoes on, he gets to doing backflips. if you get that harness that he's got on off the nail, he does cartwheels. It's something to see. The train is still rolling. It's a long train. It's a good thing there are double tracks on several spots on the way down to Cordele, or else he would just have to get the straight through on everything.
Start putting the brakes on that train.
What we're looking at is 3165. When they found the issue, it's with that brown boxcar. A gentleman happened to come on the platform that used to work for the railroad, was a conductor, and he showed us the problem. You could actually see they put a long hose that went on a different style car, and of course it got a kink in it. So the order is to push that car down onto a siding, and of course you can't leave one car by itself, so they had to take that second car and leave with it on number 2 siding. That track, and he'll actually pull back out onto the main line, which is the far track, and then he'll back in and get back on the main. When he backs in, he'll pick up the rest of his train, get hooked back up, and then after a little while get his orders. And then later you'll see him actually on the foreground going northbound when we have some southbounders coming.
And then brick builders past that, and then that's on the state property. Alabama,
I could have set up the tripod on the platform, but there was a good handrail there, and so when I was shooting shots, I would just rest it on the handrail. It was a wide enough view, you could see everything, so I didn't have to crowd the platform with a tripod. This train here is actually stopping at a little crossing down there. They'll get the okay to go, and then they'll continue on. And I believe that once they get started, 3165 will get their orders that they can go north. There was one more horrific sounding noise. It almost sounded like bearings being crushed in the bearing race. The conductor guy said that's actually the wheel binding on the curve, and it's not a grease track right there, so it makes that sound. Well, you have 5263 coming by. That's I-125 is the load number. And of course by this time it's a little after, I think it's 20 after 4 here at this time. A lot of trains come through here, and it's a really good place to go if you're in that area. It's definitely a crossroads. And like most of them, like the other one, he had to stop down the little crossing. It doesn't take him long, he gets his green light to go to.
One night a week, that's where the touchdown club, all of them meet in that room and have pictures all. But they closed Shoney's down. Cordele down volume bones being built in there. So I don't know if they're and the next paper that come out and wait from the coach and put a little article in the paper. Said, well, we didn't know Manchester was bringing another Herschel Walker down.
There is one thing for sure at Manchester: if you don't like wheel squeal, you'll definitely not like this spot here. It just happens to be on a curve, and it makes the noise. My wife does have hearing aids, and she has to take those things out or turn them completely off. In the background, you'll see 3165 is now heading north. It's always a neat thing to see when you have a north and a southbound train going past. It reminds me of being down in Crawford, near Callahan and North Jacksonville. There's a double CSX track there, and once in a while you'll have a northbound and southbound passing each other at that location, and it's always neat. But at least with intermodal containers here, you have wide gaps in there that you can see the other train a lot better than when it's just regular freight cars. Myself and the other guys that were there, the brothers, we were tickled to see the FEC cars on the trailers coming by. Florida East Coast, south of Jacksonville. That's perfect right there. You can't help but notice the conversation in the background was pretty steady. A guy named Gary that worked for the railroad, he went by named Spaceman. Very informative and had a lot of experiences to tell. I told my wife in the car, I said, you know, the man was in his glory. He was telling the old stories about the railroad days, and quite a character. We really enjoyed him being there. I love working around yards, but the yard traffic usually is slow. And this train here, southbound, finally got his speed up. He's going. All these trains are pretty good sized trains. I think the shortest one would be the first one that we saw, 898, that was in Cordele. That's probably the shortest one of the day. Well, I highly recommend anybody that's in that area, be sure and check out Manchester. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's close to Warm Springs, about 20 miles, and one of the guys that lived in LaGrange said it was only about 20-30 minutes home. So it's up in that quadrant of the state. But one line from here on that main line there goes to LaGrange and then on to Birmingham. If it makes the right hand Y out of that track, it then goes on to Atlanta. 898, when we saw him in Cordele, it was just a couple of minutes after 11 o'clock in the morning. It is now 4 minutes to 5, so you're talking about close to 6 hours. I looked on the map. It's about 95 miles by the road, but the road crisscrosses the track several times. It pretty much follows it pretty close the whole way, so it's not very much difference in length. And he's just now coming through Manchester.
When I left there, I was only qualified from Manchester to Waycross. I wouldn't. They tried to get me to go over there, and I wouldn't go. Because if you ain't been on the territory in a year, you're qualified.
You can hear Spaceman in the background telling about his adventures. Like I said, very, very nice guy, very likable guy. He is a character now.
I was paying my bills at my house, giving her $1,000 a month. But that child support, thank God, both of them married and gone. Hey, you know, we hadn't met Billy yet at the girl store that we ran, but we met Mandy. You know Mandy? And then there's another, I won't run another red video right here. But Mandy, I've been buying beer down there and stuff like that, you know. Instead of stopping in Warm Springs, I buy down there, you know. She miles off with me out there in the parking lot. And apparently she don't know how to run a wheelchair on my road. But that other lady you talking about, I think she might have done too much cocaine or something in her lifetime, but she is a flat idiot. But I was in the operating room in the back, you know. Said, lay back down.
We were going to call it a day after seeing 898 come by, and we was going to just call it a chase, but we saw this one pull up, and they had a crew change, and it didn't take them too long to get underway. So we decided we'd stick around for this one, and we'll call it a day after this one. Well, the brothers, they decided that they needed to head out, so they called it a day, and we stuck around to the end of this one before making our way back to Valdosta, and it was quite a day. I had a good time. On the way back, we got to a little town called Lilly, and 5263, the southbound I-125 that had come by here, actually was coming into that town. We actually saw it, and so it pulled over and parked. When we looked down the track, there was a yellow over red approach light. So we knew something was coming from Cordele. We waited about 15-20 minutes, and by that time it got dark enough that it had been hard to make the video, but the chatter was he was still a ways away, so we decided to head on without that last video. We always say it's the last one, but if you see a headlight or a green light, we're going to stay. Well, and if you stayed this long with me on the video, we sure do appreciate it. We thank everybody that watches and follows us. We would like for you to subscribe and hit the like button. It does help get traffic over to our site, and we just appreciate everybody that comes our way, and hope that you'll continue to come back and see what we're posting. We enjoy what we do, and with that, I'll say adios and thank you again.